So the completed assignment in this particular exam question, I gave it years ago, I no longer give it, was just to get the hour and get the minute, and if the hour and the minute happen to be equal, it would say winner, winner. Otherwise, it would say try again later. And it printed out the current hour of H and the current minute of M on one line, and then it centered, I don't know why I asked them to do that, but it centered the answer, which was either try again later or winner, winner. And it was a very simple page. All it said was current hour 14, current minute 47, and try again later. That's, of course, if I was doing it at 2:47 in the afternoon. So let's take a look at some actual student answers. Now keep in mind, this was a pressurized exam in the middle of the semester where they were just thrown this tough question of finding out the minute of the moment, the hour of the moment, and if they compared and were equal, you're a winner. If not, then you weren't a winner. So in this example, what do we have here? We've got a function called winner, and down below we have our script that sets up a variable h and a variable d and a variable answer, and document.writes that. But where did we get the hour and the day from? Those functions don't even exist, and yet they're executing them on lines 16 and 17. And they create two variables, one called h and one called d, which, if that was even possible to do, what do they send to the winner function? They send x and y. And yet it was h and d that they had assigned values in the previous two lines. So it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. I'm used to it by now. Take a look at another one. Function winner, x, y, all right, so we got that working there. Function month, all right. And then we have function the hour. Remember, this is a problem that has to do with minutes and hour. Just turns out that I had happened to have had a day and a month program that I had done earlier. You know how professors, we do the same thing, only we mix it up a smidgen and try to get the students to write that out. But first of all, they have the month function on line 28 just says month. That means it's performing some action and printing some answer. But in fact, on line 15, they're returning X. I don't know why. You can't do that. And even within the month function, they've got a variable d equals the day and an m equals d dot get month, but they have no day function to get d, and d is not an object. I think they were trying to say d equals new date, but they kind of had that forgotten. And then down in the winner function, they put parentheses 5 comma 5. Where the heck did they get those numbers from? They're supposed to be generating a number from the month and the hour functions, but they didn't do that. They just threw in any old random numbers. And of course, the hour function, they created a function called the hour, but what did they execute? A function called x hour, which makes absolutely no sense. Of course, I didn't even really get into the math behind what they were trying to do, which also didn't make sense. Now, if we look at the next winner program, we see a function the day, a function the hour, function winner. Okay, well, let's look at it a little more closely. They have a variable called dd, which is a new date, but they didn't say new date parentheses, so that caused a little bit of a problem. And again, they're looking at month and date when they're supposed to be looking at hour and minute. And then don't you love where they have a variable answer equals m times c? Well, if I even had an m and a c, why the heck would I multiply the day of the month times the month of the year to figure out what when I'm trying to get the hour and the minute? I don't know. A little variation on the hour one. There they get the, well, they do have a new date on that one. HR is a new date. They've got that right on line 13. Line 14, I don't know why we're getting the date. Line 15 is actually correct. It's getting the hour. V equals hr.getHours. But then what do? They don't return V like they should have. They return V times N. So how many points off is that? Because it's completely wrong. But if they had just eliminated the asterisk and the letter N, it would have been completely right, even with stuff they didn't. All right, let's take a look at the next one. This one, well, you be the judge. They got this H equals X times D. I don't know how the heck they got that, because D is a new date, which means it's a date object. It's not just a number. It's encapsulating a whole bunch of information about today's date. Now, Z is the hours of today's date, but you can't just say H equals Z times D. That makes absolutely no sense. And then look at the function winner. Okay, so they open some parentheses, and they got a response. If X is equal to Y, then return a response. Okay, well, that could work out, but wait a minute. Down on line 42, they have winner H comma D. You don't return responses on line 30 if the function doesn't say variable X equals winner of H and D. Winner H comma D implies that you don't have a return statement. Moving on to yet another error. Where do I begin here? Okay, variable I equals 16. How the heck did we get that? It had to do with some, I think I must have had 16 photos of either candy bars or students or whatever that I was showing, and they just threw that in there. We also had a random number function, which I do remember covering that. Never mind that one time they spell it with a capital R, another time with a lowercase r, and they have both return X and document.writeX. I don't get that, where they're doing that. But and sometimes they have a variable A equals the random number, but then on line 34 they just have random number. So what the heck? I don't understand. If you can figure that out, email me. And then, of course, there's the extra curly brace. They just throw it in there. That is not necessary. Never mind, you shouldn't be declaring variables within if statements, but we'll save that for a more advanced programming class. And then just sitting out in the middle of nowhere, document.response. It's got to be part of a function if you need that, and I'm not sure if you need it. Because, of course, in this case, they have the winner down on 34. It looks like it's just performing an action. So why do they have on line 20 return response? Because either you return the response or you don't. And, of course, they're sending X and Y to the winner function, but they never got an X or a Y down between lines 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. There is no X and Y. How can you send X and Y to a function? Now let's take a look at another one here. Function day month, which has an N in it. Well, where does he get that N from? And down on the first line of the body script, it just says variable day month. You can have variable something is equal to day month. So that doesn't make any sense. Kind of like they did on the next one, but the next one they called the hour, which would be great, except that there was no function called the hour. Of course, there's no function called the day either, so maybe that's just par for the course. And nothing wrong with this syntactically, but what you have is winner, winner, plus D plus H. And if they even worked, they would just slur all that together. You'd have winner and then a space and then another winner. And then right after that would be whatever D was, today's date, and then H, whatever today's hour was, which, keep in mind, the assignment had to do with hours and minutes. And on top of that, their winner function has no curly braces to be open and to close the function. No curly braces means it's never going to work. Furthermore, on their if statement, they have the word then in there, which JavaScript, a lot of times things are called if-then statements, but in this case, the word then is not necessary, and beyond that, two braces are, one that opens the if statement after the conditional expression, and one that closes the if statement. And out in the middle of nowhere, I've got winner parentheses x comma y equals the letter x plus the letter y parentheses, close it with a semicolon, and I don't know what the heck that means. It doesn't make any sense at all. You don't assign a function like that a value, and certainly not of two letters, and but it's not like the first time they did that. They had variable h is going to be equal to d times h parentheses, which makes no sense. And for that matter, variable y equals 5 parentheses, which makes no sense. So in the day-month function, variable d equals the day and variable h is the hour, but those functions don't actually exist. And then right in the middle, between a couple of functions, we have a document.write statement that writes out n. I don't know where the heck n is, and I don't know why you would have a document.write in the middle of nowhere. And for that matter, the return n needs to be inside the function, not outside the function. So, I hope that's enough to help you prepare for the exam. And if not, at least you know you're not the only one who made mistakes.